Hello and welcome this evening. This is Dr. Brenda Roach, and you can just call me Brenda because it's just much easier. So if you're tuning in with me this evening, I'm at a new location, so I hope this connection is a good one. And so tonight we are going to continue with this series of taking time for your life. And so again, this is Dr. Brenda Roach, and you can just call me Brenda. I am a neuropsychologist by trade. Hey, Kay, glad you're watching. And I also have partnered with a health and wellness company so that I can help people heal from the inside out as well. And I love helping people. And so tonight I'm going to talk about, again, the second part in a series. If you did not watch my live last week, I would encourage you to go back and watch that. This will make much more sense if you watch that as well. Hey, Naomi, glad you're here. I'll be calling you in a little bit as well. Hey, Shelly, glad you tuned in here. And so really talking today, hey, Cami, about taking time for your life. Hey, Carrie, this is great. Lots of people on here. So my first question is if you watched, hey, Bobby, if you watched last week, my live, the homework was to start journaling. And so I want to know in the comments down below, let me know if you were able to start doing that on a consistent basis. It don't have to be every day, but if you were able to do that consistently over the last week, if you started journaling. I know I did, and I really have found it very, very helpful and really kind of enlightening. Hey, Jennifer, glad you're here. And so tonight, again, I'm going to be talking about take time for your life. If you find this is a helpful talk and series that you think other people might benefit from, please feel free to share this with other people, as well as give me some comments down below as I'm going along. Let me know if this is making sense or not and providing you some value as well. Hey, Rosa, glad you're joining me. So tonight I'm going to be talking about choosing your sacred date night. And this is a really important one. So, you know, when we first meet someone and we think we might want to start dating them, we decide you'd like to explore a relationship with them, what do? You start spending time, more time together with them. And you'll find yourself, even in your busy schedules, finding time for that person when you first kind of start in a relationship, right? You'll spend hours just talking and asking endless questions and getting to know each other. And so it's funny, though, how we always seem to find time for other people and not for ourselves. And so I'd like you, this is going to be one of your assignments for this next week, is I would like for you to set time aside for yourself. And so it really is setting a time aside for yourself each week that you can devote to developing a relationship with yourself. Isn't that a novel idea? And it really is. So it's a sacred date night with just you. So when I've suggested this to other people along the way, they really have. They've set that time aside, and it really has been very beneficial, because you start really reevaluating your life and really kind of taking better care, of yourself. Sometimes, it might just be simply turning off your phone, spending time journaling, cooking your favorite meal, relaxing in a hot bath. Other times it might be going to a movie alone, or going to your favorite restaurant, or ordering food in that you really like. And again, as we talk about mindfulness, hey, Lori, glad you joined me. You want to be mindful of, what you put in your body as well. But again, if you spend that time, so picking that one time a night, that one time a week, that really is a sacred date night for yourself. So this is one of your assignments, is thinking about what time will you set aside for yourself each week. Hey, Cindy, glad you joined me. Choose a time during each week that you'll be able to hold sacred to yourself. It's not allowing anybody else to come in. Your friends might kind of start talking to you about that, but you kind of tell them it's your sacred time, and maybe they'll actually start doing it as well and taking care of themselves and really having that self-care as a priority, which is really important as well. So if you get really brave, I want you to put it down in the comment section and go public with what day and time you are going to set aside for your sacred date night with yourself. So choose a time, write the time here, or put it in your journal. You don't have to share it publicly if you don't want to, but I'd encourage you to really commit to that. Really think about it and then commit to it. And then next, what I want you to do is think about some things that you most like to do to take care of yourself. And list the first 3 things that come to mind and put those down in your list as well. And then, so that's your first assignment, okay? So pick a day during each week that you are going to commit to your sacred date night with yourself. Again, you can pick the amount of time that that's going to be, and then write down 3 things, first 3 things that kind of come to your mind that you can do to take care of yourself during that time that you might enjoy doing. One of the other things is we're going to keep on the journaling component. Again, if you watched my series last week, my session last week, you know, I asked you to journal and we talked about journaling. And if you've done that, put your comments down below. Let me know that you were able to follow through on that. And if you didn't, what got in the way? And what can you do differently this week to really start looking at doing that? So with your journal this week, what I want you to do is to start writing your life story. You know, it's to really capture the story of your life. It's a really powerful, powerful exercise in really honoring who you are and where you've come from. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I've always, you know, when I begin relationships with people, it's one of the things, hey, Karen, glad you're here, is really asking them because it helps you get to know yourself better when you really write about it. Writing the details and the history that have made you who you are today will really help you understand, you know, and appreciate a lot more the choices you've made that have brought you to this point in your life. And sometimes there's things that have happened in your life that wasn't a choice of yours, but we always have a choice of what we do about what we do with what happened to us. So our mindset, and again, some things happen to us when we're very young that we don't always have a choice in. But as adults and as we get older, we have a choice in what we do now about our thoughts and our memories and those things about that. So it really helps you do that. So writing your life story, you know, these are some questions that you can think about. What events affected you the most and why? When did you feel loved, cherished, angry, betrayed, fully seen and heard? Hey, Brianne, glad you joined me. Which events will you never forget? What made you stop dead in your tracks and head in the other direction? Do certain types of people keep showing up in your life? It's a good question to ask. And that can be a positive or negative. If this is making sense, give me some thumbs up. If you're, hey, Jessica, glad you joined me. If you're finding value in this, hey, Janice, you know, let me know that as well. If you're catching this and not from the beginning, please go back and catch it from the very beginning, because what I'm talking about will make a lot more sense as well. Hey, Libby, glad you're joining me. So sometimes when we write our life story, you know, it really can, you know, put light on, so shine light on the present day challenges that we're really having. And so it really is important to go back and look at our life. So you can be writing this in your journal when you're having your special date night with yourself, that's what we talked about earlier tonight, is really picking one day a week where you are going to just take time for just you. And that's your sacred date night. And nothing should get in the way of that. From writing your story while you're doing this, you'll discover, you know, your life. And if the idea feels overwhelming, some people it really seems overwhelming too, don't let that stop you. Just move forward with that. Be creative. Write out the significant events, you know, that have happened in bullet form, maybe in a bullet list form. That can be one way of doing it. Break the action into smaller steps. Just devote a half hour a week, maybe during your, you know, sacred date night of just working on your life story. So to begin, hey, Carrie, glad you joined me. To begin, you know, separate your life into decades. That's one of the easiest ways to do it, is if you kind of separate it into decades. And as you review each decade in your mind, complete these sentences. And you want to write this down or, you know, kind of review this again. So watch it again and write these down if you don't have a pencil ready right now. So you want to answer these kind of questions about each decade in your life. The significant events during this part of my life were ... The one event I remember most is ... These events affected my life in the following ways ... The person or persons who influenced me most was or were ... And this part of my life affects me now in the following way, ... And so those are some questions that you can start answering. You can go through it by, by decade and really kind of looking at it in that way. And it kind of gives you some guidance on kind of how to get started, because sometimes people don't get started because they don't know where to really begin. And so that can give you some kind of ways to do that. Don't be surprised if you find it difficult to remember some of the things from your past. Everybody does. Just ask friends and family to kind of help, or look through some photo albums, or watch some old home videos or movies. I did that at Christmas time, and that was really pretty fun. And let them kind of trigger that memory. Hey, Connie, glad you're catching this. Not only writing down your life story will give you valuable information about you, but the actual process itself will really deepen that connection you have with yourself. And that's really what we're talking about in that sacred date night, is getting a date night with yourself. It's really beginning to understand who you are and taking time to really begin to recognize who you are. Most people that I've worked with that have completed their life stories, feel really a strong sense of self-love and compassion after they've gone through their life story. The key is really to strengthen that relationship with yourself. That is the goal of this. You'll learn a lot about what motivates you, and you may even identify patterns of behavior that could get in the way of making some of the changes we're going to talk about in this whole series. So it's really important to kind of be looking at those kind of things. You might notice a pattern of procrastination that gets in your way of completing tasks. You might find a pattern of not being able to set boundaries, so you don't meet your own needs, but you meet everybody else's needs. Knowing these patterns that you'll start identifying will really help you prepare in ways you'll need to grow to create really a life where you're taking better care of yourself. And that's really what this series is about. Once you have your life story done, you're going to want to either share it with someone who you really trust, or just write down the questions. Again, if you're finding this helpful, give me some thumbs up. Let me know that you're finding value with this. If you're catching this on replay, put #replay down below. Let me know where you're catching this from. So the questions you're gonna want to answer after you've completed your life story are the following. What did you learn about yourself from this exercise? What patterns or themes have you identified? Are you afraid to make changes? Do you settle for less? Most of us do when we really look at it. Do certain people or certain kinds of people keep showing up in your life? Are you a risk taker? Did your interest in certain areas start early? Who has influenced you the most? And has their influence supported you or hindered you? It's a good question to really look at. If you could change any part of your past, which part would it be and why? And do you notice anything from your past that may stop you from making the changes in the present or future that you really want to make? And what are you most proud of? Write those answers down in that journal. And as you discuss your life story with others, you may be surprised to notice a lot of similarities with them and that they have. One thing I've learned from reading and hearing a lot of people's life stories over time is how alike we all are. The events and details may be different, but the underlying lessons and really desires are really all the same. And so again, I hope you found this helpful. If you're catching this on replay, put #replay, and we'll just continue. We're going to continue this series of really figuring out how to develop a stronger relationship with ourselves, how to start putting ourselves first, because if we put ourselves first, we can be more available actually for other people as well. And too many times we just don't put ourselves first, and we're taking care of everybody else and not taking care of ourselves. And eventually we get burnt out. And so again, thank you for catching this live or by replay. And again, let me know if you found this helpful. Put some comments down below. We'll continue this at 7:30 next Thursday. I'll look forward to hearing about how you did this week on setting your sacred date night with yourself, and maybe some activities that you've done with yourself throughout the week, as well as your journaling experience about really putting your life story together. So thank you again for catching this live, and I will see you live next Thursday. And again, my name is Dr. Brenda Roach, but you can just call me Brenda because it's just much easier. Thank you, and have a great evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you're catching this from.